Let me practice my panic voice.
All right, we're live. Welcome to Live from the Crossroads of America, talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Answer questions from the audience, either in the chat or by email at rickslifeasIseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I got a Patreon page. All the stuff's listed down below there on YouTube. If anybody, thing, and don't forget to give me the thumbs up and all that good stuff. I would appreciate it. I did mention this on Wednesday. Also, I don't remember he's out there. Is due to the financial looking at it, that me, saving all the podcasts and putting them on audio files on Podbean. It was costing me $15 a month, and I wasn't getting much. The analytics just didn't jive. Maybe I didn't advertise it enough that I was doing that. I don't know, but I stopped doing it. Just want to let you know. So just want to say that. All right, who we got in the chat today? So far, the first in was 2 Live Moo. And of course, we got Kingpin. Vanessa's here. How you doing? Southpaw RX is here. Gun Loving Grandpa is here. That's about who else we got. I think that's about it for right now. That's all it's showing. But I'm sure more. I said he's only just turned 3, so people are just getting here. My panelists today at the moment, I don't know how long you're going to be here, as I got Night Strike. How you doing?
I'm doing good. And Rick, as far as those podcasts are concerned, for $10 a month, I could have helped you host as many as you wanted to.
Yeah. I've done it now. It's over and done with. I might talk to you later about it, see what we can come up with. Yeah. And then we got the one and only Kingpin.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Okay. Ozzy Osbourne is joined us. Oh, Vanessa Kitty said, with a headline such as that, why would we not show up? I agree. And what was it? The coronavirus, or this, COVID-19?
COVID-19 or something like that.
COVID-19. Should we panic?
Okay, Kingpin, panic voice now.
Oh my gosh. There
we go.
I mean, Jason Stewart's here. Yeah, should we panic over this? I personally don't think so. I think it's media driven. I think it's being done that way, unfortunately, to use anything that's said or done as a political gain, to try to make it for Trump to lose in November. I'm sorry to say that's the way I feel. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, and it's sad that people die from it. But I don't hear people saying, nobody talks about the thousands upon thousands of people who are recovering from it. They're only talking about who's affected in what areas and who's dying. So they're making it sound like it's a death. If you test for it and it comes back positive, you got a death sentence. That's the way they're making it sound. Is the way I'm perceiving it, or am I wrong? Night Strike.
You're not wrong, and I've been compiling a list of pandemics we've had in the last 20 years. Okay, quite honestly, 3 of them come from China. Okay, and I hate to say this, but that's a little too convenient in the span of 20 years, don't you think?
Yeah.
Okay. And granted, this is more what I've been writing some stuff up for the for E Honda's conspiracy chat, but again, I was working for Walmart when SARS happened. Okay, we had 27 cases of people that had SARS in the United States. 0 died, 0 fatalities. Okay? Okay? The fatality percentage was 0%. Okay? The next time was like the 2009 swine flu scare, which apparently came from pigs in China, of which the swine flu ended up being a subtype variant of the Spanish flu. Figure that one out. It's ridiculous. And of that, worldwide, 700 million to 1.4 billion people died from the swine flu. Okay, just put that in perspective. Is that as many as what's going on with COVID-19? I don't know. I haven't checked the latest numbers, but 700 million to 1.4 billion from the swine flu. That's a lot. That's a lot.
I agree with you. What's your take on it, Kingpin?
My take on it is, what are we going to do when something really serious that affects everybody happens? What happens if the power grid goes down? What happens if a meteor hits the planet somewhere, and causes blackouts and serious, what if we have one of those Matrix types issues?
Everybody,
you see how people. Well, that's what I'm saying. Look how people have reacted. This just goes to show how panicky people are.
Yeah.
And how unprepared for anything most people are.
I agree. And also, this is what I've been saying this since I've been doing this podcast, is as a civilized society, it doesn't take much for us to revert back to being barbaric. I mean, people are already fighting in the stores over, toilet paper. You know what I'm saying?
Rick, did you catch Friday Night Strike last night?
No, I didn't.
Okay, we talked about this last night on the Friday Night Strike. I don't go out and get anything from the store unless I absolutely need it, and I needed toilet paper, and I had to look all over town to find at least one big 12-pack of toilet roll paper rolls because everybody else was out. Everyone else in town was out. Okay, it's ridiculous. Though I do want to make a correction. I was reading my notes. It's the confirmed cases of swine flu was 700 million to 1.4 billion. The deaths were between 150,000 and 575,000 people that died from the swine flu. I want to correct that before someone says, Night Strike, you're full of shit. I'm not full of shit. I just read the notes wrong, okay? I'm sorry. I'm getting older. I'm 36 right now. I'm turning 37 this year. I'm getting older. My eyes are going. I'm sorry.
You hear that, Rick? You hear that kid over there talking about how old he's getting?
He's doing diapers as far as I'm concerned,
All right, Grandpa.
Yeah. Yeah, but but where I'm going with this is, so you've got I mean, hell, if you run out of toilet paper, use paper towel. It'll flush just the same. Well, so anyway.
The problem is, Rick, I got city water, but I don't have sewage. I have a septic tank. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I understand. But
with a septic tank, if you're using paper towels, you literally have to tear it in half because most paper towels are 2-ply. So you tear off one of the plies, you can use that one ply.
There you go. You don't the amount.
You don't use the full 2-ply, otherwise it'll get stuck in your pipes, and you're ending up calling a septic tank guy to come out and pump your lines. I know this from fact.
Yeah. Just use Red X. Will take care of all your problems.
No, it does not. I've tried that.
But anyway, where I was going is, so now you've got your hordes of toilet paper, right? And since they're fighting in the stores over it, somebody's going to say, Night Strike over on so-and-so Avenue, he's got a garage full of toilet paper. So the crowd comes. This is where
That's the misunderstanding.
Do you stand by and let them take it, or do you shoot them down?
That's the misunderstanding about civilization. People understand that we have a civilized society now, but the reality is there's a small percentage of the population that's holding civilization together. You know
Absolutely.
what Tommy Lee Jones say in Men in Black? He said a person is smart and sensible or whatever. People are wild, irrational, and crazy.
And stupid.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I said it doesn't take much to separate us from going back, to
You've got mail.
being.
Hey, Rick, you got mail.
I know. It's notifying me that I've gone live.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
So we know.
Oh yeah.
But what about this? That person who's basically filled his entire garage up with paper towels. What if he decides to start price gouging to sell it off instead of hoarding?
Hey, capitalism.
Yeah, one, capitalism, but in some states, when you're under a state of emergency, there's a law against price gouging.
Well, I
Well,
understand what you're saying.
capitalism is a term that is misused. The truth about capitalism is free market capitalism. And with free market capitalism, people say this all the time. If you get the government out and let the market control itself, then you'll have $700 toothbrushes. Yeah, for about a day. And the company that's charging $700 for a toothbrush will be out of
Get burned to
business
the
tomorrow.
ground.
Well, no, it'll be out of business tomorrow because we're not savages. We don't burn buildings down. We just don't shop there, and then they'll be out of business. Free market capitalism is based on that exact thing, free market. And there's laws everywhere. You hear socialists talk about it all the time. The capitalism is just for the rich and just for the price gougers. There's laws that still exist that prevent that kind of stuff.
I like what Southpaw RX said. TP yard sale.
Yeah. Now, what I'm saying is, if I had a garage full of toilet paper, and people started coming to me and say I paid $1 a roll for it, I would say, "What you going to give me for some?"
I mean, bartering for it. I see no problem bartering for it, but hoarding it all just so you can hawk it at two or three times the price. That's just ridiculous.
People will do that.
Yeah, I know.
But what I'm saying is, they're hoarding all this toilet paper. Basically, when this so-called epidemic's over, they're still going to have a garage full of toilet paper.
Yeah, and when toilet paper keeps getting trucked in from everywhere to your local stores, and you can get it all, and it's in abundance again, they're still going to be stuck with that garage full of toilet paper. So either they start using some of that toilet paper, or they spend a ton of money on some useless paper.
Absolutely. I mean, how long do you think this is going to last? I mean, they're doing stuff on 30-day increments right now.
I mean, if I was going to go out and buy toilet paper to prep, because remember, I live in a hurricane area. So if I buy more than I need, for the month, then I use whatever I've got left over. In most cases, I'd use probably for hurricane preparedness. Now, that doesn't seem that unrealistic considering where I live. Okay. In your area and in much of the Midwest, Rick, you would equate that to tornado preparedness, because you do get tornadoes in Indiana. It's happened more than once.
Oh yeah, we had a warning the other night, actually.
Yeah, and that's the reason why you'd have some form of preparedness, in case of emergency. But that doesn't mean you go out and buy the entire freaking aisle from the store and put it in your garage.
Yeah.
There's rational and there's irrational in buying more than you need, even in case of emergency like hurricane, tornado, storms. Any of that is irrational.
Yeah. Right. New York Outcast has joined us. How you doing?
All right. How you doing? Sorry, I'm late.
That's all right. Not a problem. We're talking about, people hoarding toilet paper. And what my original question was to the panel is, because they're fighting in the stores over it now. Once they find out you got a garage full and everybody starts rushing towards your house, what are you going to do about it? You're going to just let them take it? Or are you going to try to sell it to them? Or are you going to protect it with your firearms? I.e., hold the crowd back.
Gotten that bad?
Hey, we're not as civilized as people think we are. I think when it comes down to the crunch, we're going to go back to being what's the word I'm looking for? We're just going to revert back to, the strongest survive, In
a funny ha-ha scenario, Rick, that's when I get rooftop Koreans to protect my my stash, and they get paid 1 roll per day. Okay? Yeah. And I say this jokingly because, the whole situation is hilarious in itself.
It is. It is. I'm just saying using toilet paper, but basically the way the media is sounding, right? It's not just toilet paper, it's life in general. Whatever food you got stored and everything else, you're bunkering down in your place. It's here.
Yeah.
It's not zombies, but the world out there as you know it is over. If you listen to the media.
No, it's not over. It's just slowed down because there's a travel ban. Okay, and believe it or not, people are going after the president for a travel ban, this and that. But guess what? Other countries are doing it too. It's not just us.
Yeah. Patrick says they come from my toilet paper. I have 556 reasons for them not to come over.
Yeah. I don't need 556. I just need 308.
Yeah.
You do. I mean, you do realize that's a life in prison sentence if you kill somebody over some toilet paper, right?
Yeah. But we're saying this in the joking pretense because
you say that.
We're joking about a ridiculous situation.
But you say that, but they come charging down your driveway in a violent manner.
That's a different story. Got a mob coming to your house. Yeah, that's a different story.
So that's what I'm saying. People start panicking, then all hell breaks loose. I don't understand all the panic buying. Maybe it's going to come back and bite me in the ass. I don't mean to joke on that. When I go out to do, I got to go out and buy a couple of things tomorrow.
Well, I told this to Kingpin yesterday, but we are no longer on the petrodollar anymore. With all this toilet paper scare, we are now on the Charmin dollar.
Yeah, I don't know. I personally feel that it's blown out of proportion. And now I heard this morning that the U.S. government they might start instituting what's the word for it? Domestic flights now from affected areas, like flights out of Washington won't be allowed. They're not doing it yet, but they're looking into it.
Well, you know what? And they're only doing this to make sure that no further cases happen outside of these areas in which cases have happened. Because remember, it's spread from person to person. So if a person comes into contact with someone who has the virus, then that person gets the virus.
Yeah,
you realize that's how it is.
Now the thing is, I understand that. I understand where you're coming from, and I totally agree with you. But maybe I should be on the Gay Frog chat. Back in the tiny recesses of my mind, right? The country government, state, whether it's state level or federal level, they're starting, like, states are doing state of emergency and stuff like that. I mean, the government's done a federal one. Now, when we as a country got control of this virus, are they going to let go of that power they just took from us?
They have to, because the state of emergency is only temporary. They can't leave a state of emergency up for long periods of time.
What's stopping them from leaving it up?
The law.
I think they could.
They could leave it up, I think.
The PA.
I mean, the good example where you're at, New York, in New York State, your governor, I could see him keeping it, might call it something else, but he's taking control of the state. It's
Hey,
his
Rob.
highway.
Yep.
Hey, Rob.
Yep.
Can you hear me, Rob?
Yeah.
Your volume's a little bit low. It's a little bit hard to hear you.
It's like the Rob microphone of the past. Speak closer into it.
Any better?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit better, yeah.
Okay. I was just stating, it is a possibility when you look at like PA, how PA's been under a state of emergency for, a long time now. It keeps getting renewed due to the, opioid epidemic. And basically that's, from what I'm told, just to receive more funding. So maybe they could try it, but I don't think nationally it would fly too long before people would, be pretty upset about that.
I mean, Rick, don't take this the wrong way, but if we had the same situation in your home country of England, yeah, they can leave a state of emergency up for how long the Queen says. But in the United States, we have laws to prevent them from having it being 100% of the time.
I don't know. You think about it. I mean, they've taken. It's for our own. I understand it's for our own good. That because this is an airborne virus, if you stop people from doing certain things, hopefully it won't spread. But my fear is the way half the country wants to be socialist anyway, right? What's stopping them from taking control? They all start off nice, but eventually they all turn into dictators and control. The only thing that's stopping them right now is they haven't taken our guns yet.
Now there's the upside.
Hey, what can I say? I don't think it's going to get to that. But if we had a Democrat president right now, I would be worried. Really worried.
Do you really think that the federal government is in any way, shape, or form intimidated by our guns?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
That's the point.
They're not.
I think it would be a very hard sell right now for them to want to take firearms from people on a mass scale.
Yeah, but we've had this discussion before. I don't think the standing army would go against the people.
No.
What scares me is some of these police departments, the kind of people they're hiring, have that mentality. We're in charge. We're going to put the boot to your throat. You do what I tell you, not what I do. You do what I tell you. Mentality. That's what I think personally.
Well, look at it this way, Rick. You remember when Hurricane Katrina happened and hit New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You remember how there are cases of which the National Guard and the local police department of New Orleans were going into people's houses, taking their guns or destroying them. Okay. And just so they could kick people out of their homes and tell them to leave. Okay, because the areas were so bad off, or because they didn't want them staying in their homes because the areas were getting looted by looters or whatnot, and they didn't want these people looting. Okay, whatever the reasons were, the fact is they were the mayor had basically decided to take it upon himself and to get the police department and whatever local National Guard to take away people's firearms. Now, in that situation, everybody saw what happened at that point. And if that starts happening in some parts of the United States, the actual real militia is going to either stand up and say, stop taking people's guns, go home. Or, some form of conflict is going to happen. I don't know which. I am just theorizing. I don't think people would let the government come in and take their stuff and then leave them defenseless. I don't think people would allow for that.
Let me just clarify. What I meant by that statement wasn't is our guns effective or not? I just wanted to know, do you think that they're intimidated by it or not? When the quote unquote people behind the scenes are talking about doing stuff like this, do you think their narcissism will let them be concerned about the fact that we're armed? So I wasn't saying that our arms aren't going to be effective. I'm just saying when they're thinking about this stuff, I don't think that they're intimidated by us. And then Southpaw had a question out there for you, Rick.
Yes. About the magazines. Are most of all he's dressed. Is this the one where he dressed to me and you? Are most of all, or all mags loaded and ready to go? I personally don't want to waste time loading mags while in mid-crisis. Thoughts?
I agree.
All my magazines are all my magazines are loaded. They always have been. All my weapons in my gun cabinet back here, I got full mags in them. There's not one in the chamber, but the mags are full. Also, I was reloading 380 this morning to make sure I got plenty in case I got to stand here in the doorway and keep them at bay for my toilet paper. So, but I'm ready. So, what about the rest of you?
Well, I need to go to. I need to make a run to PSA later and get some more 308 and 7.62 by 39. But for most part, most of my magazines are loaded. It's just I've got like 30 HK91 mags that I've got to load. So I got to get more ammo for those.
Hey, now, as much as I just don't like the guy, I do watch some of his videos. I happen to, because his clickbait. Well, Yankee put one out the other day where he happened to mention that like the price of ammo is going up because if ammo companies got to close their doors because their people are staying away because of this virus, that means there's going to start to be a shortage of ammo. It could happen. So
I like what Jason Stewart says. He has a backup plan. When TP is all gone, I have some Yankee Marshall patches.
Yeah.
There you go.
I've seen some reports of gun sales on the rise, gun sales and ammunition.
Now I've heard.
Yeah, there probably is a spike in that area.
Yeah.
As well as toilet paper. So
Yeah, I heard that like out in California, believe it or not, a lot of the Asian population are buying firearms because, we got some real assholes in this country who are blaming them.
I don't blame
for this virus.
All right.
I don't blame the Asians already in the United States. I blame the Asians that are outside of it.
Yeah, well, no, I don't blame them for stocking up because, historically, there's been a few occasions where Asians have been targeted for different things, especially even with viruses, where they've been forced inoculations that were turned out to be bad inoculation or vaccines, and there was a lot of deadly side effects. But they've been forced into a lot over even our recent history. So I wouldn't blame them at all for being a little paranoid.
Oh, Rich White said we bought a bunch of shop towels yesterday. People were completely ignoring them sitting on the shelves of the automotive department of Walmart. See, now we were discussing this a minute ago with Night Strike.
with shop towels are basically, more or less, paper towels.
But where we're going, like you were saying, is the septic. If you're on a septic system, will paper towels mess it up?
Yes, they will mess it up.
They will if it's 2-ply and you haven't taken basically dissected the 2-ply.
Try to avoid that if you can.
Yeah, if you're like on city tour, you can get away with it.
I'd say same thing with tampons as well. Try not to flush those. A lot of people, they claim they're flushable, but I know by firsthand experience they're not. So,
what was that?
Septic tank, most.
Wow! That's quite the story, Rob.
If you have a septic tank, most of the pipes are only graded at like a 4-degree pitch. So
what was that? But I didn't hear what you said. That it says they're usable, but they're not.
Tampons.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah. Another thing you got to watch out for.
Calls where clogged drains turned out to be, 5.
What about for like baby wipes?
Can you not hear Rob?
Either.
Can you guys not hear Rob?
I hear him, but he's lower than normal. I can hear him.
I was just because there's a couple of times where it seemed like he was in the middle of a sentence, and then the conversation just I didn't know if you guys could hear him or not or what. It's still kind of low on my side, so I don't know if maybe that was affecting it.
He's lower than normal.
Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's time for another set of earbuds. So.
Could be Southpaw.
Maybe you should speak up, Rob.
A lot of that stuff you don't want to flush. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Period. So
we got
that sounds a lot better. Now you sound a lot better, Rob.
I don't know what you're doing, but you do sound better and louder.
I turned my volume up on the phone, so you guys are screaming to me. But
okay,
it affects the mic somehow.
Patrick says tampons are a great bandage for large wounds. So,
okay. I won't argue.
Southpaw said he went to his local pawn shop today in Alabama after work. All bulk ammo of 223 and 9mm were sold out. Just a few in your boxes on the shelf. Yeah, I tell you.
Yeah.
It's turned into a countrywide panic, this virus. And I think I may be sitting out here in the middle of the country in Indiana. And Indiana does have a few cases, mainly up in Indianapolis. I'm over 100 miles away from there. But, should I take it more seriously than I am? I don't know. It's, because it hasn't affected me any. Maybe that's why I'm not taking it too seriously. I don't know. I'm not hoarding anything. I mean, I've got extra ammo. I've got a few extra stuff here. Do I have enough food in the house to last me a month? No. But I don't think it's going to come to me having to stay in my house for a month. I really don't. Vanessa Ketty said her stores are mostly empty of frozen foods. I don't understand all this. I really don't. So you're buying all these frozen food, stuffing it into your thing. You're relying on the electric company, on the grid, to stay running. But what happens if all the workers are sent home because of the virus? Then your electricity goes out, and there's nobody to come to switch it back on. And you got all this frozen food going to fucking waste. Maybe I'm missing something here. So, anybody want to add anything to this?
So I think there's different levels that people are on with this. So, some are extremely worried. Some are, I think, just reacting because people are reacting. So they got to, follow. And then I think there's some that are just trying to do daily shopping and having a hard time with that. So.
Yeah, but it all comes down to, if you add up what are they? I mean, what's the latest figures now? I'm just in the United States. That what I mean, a lot of this is could get to this, may get to this figure.
Well, it is bigger in other places. It's
Yeah, okay,
just
but what I mean,
not bigger
what do they
here yet.
feel is the percentage of death rate of this thing?
I don't know exacts. I do know as of this morning, there's reports of people being left in their home dead for days without removal. Apparently, a wife with a husband, a brother with a dead sister. Things get backed up, it creates problems. I think Americans have had it pretty dang easy, and now that there's a hint that there could be trouble, people are freaking out.
Absolutely.
That's what I was going to mention right there is the fact that technology has made us so soft and so independent. We don't, having a society is almost irrelevant now. You know, my next door neighbor is a total stranger, where even back when any of us were kids, except for baby Night Strike, your next door neighbor was like one of your best family friends. You know, you always hung out with your next door neighbor, you know, whatever kind of stuff like that. You socialized and helped them plant flowers and all that kind of crap.
Yeah,
The
your truck out in the driveway. You know?
the unforeseen factor is not what are you gonna do, is what is Night Strike gonna do? Because nobody but Night Strike knows what he's about to do. So as prepared as I am and as level-headed as I am and as, you know, as rock solid and sure as I am, I have no idea what he's going to do. And that's the factor that you can't figure out. You have to wait and see. Hence, people panic buying toilet paper, which sends regular everyday people that need some TP2 out to the store with the mob to get toilet paper.
Okay. Now, Midnight Range.
Hey, I'm a decent human being.
Range said if the virus is going to move across the country, which it will, do you really? I mean, that's it. That's the big if it's going to move across the country. You're surmising it's going to. Would you rather buy your toilet paper now or wait until reports are in your area? Sounds a good idea to buy its stuff now. That's what Midnight Range is saying. But it's all based on ifs this happens, if that happens, if the wind blows this way, you know.
But what if the wind blows that way?
You know, that's what I'm saying. It could happen, but also there's a damn good chance it ain't going to happen.
It's true. Very true.
I mean, see, am I being wrong?
No, you're not being wrong.
You know?
Everybody's got their opinions. I mean, I personally feel with what's happened in other countries that aren't much worse than us. You know, people could say it's whatever, but their healthcare system, their size, their way of life isn't much different. Some are, some aren't, but they've been hit pretty dang hard. And I assume with
it's already in my state.
I would think we have a bigger problem than we know. And that's probably why tests are rolling out slow, because if everything's overwhelmed at one time, it becomes an issue. That's just my opinion, my thinking. But I don't see how we're going to come through this so much better than everybody else, personally. I think that's just, you know, pretty ridiculous just to assume. Not saying people should panic or anything, but I would think, you know, at the very least, reacting to everybody else's actions, you know, is going to mean something now, because everybody's jumping on this. So, you know, I don't know. It has effects all around. So I think the worst are yet to be seen. We'll probably see in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the way people are panicking, and just what I was saying, the way that it's been reported there's been some fights in a few stores already, it's only going to get worse.
This is Black Friday shopping. This is exactly Black Friday shopping. You know, you see people punching each other and kicking each other and stomping each other and all this for television sets. Now they're doing it for toilet paper.
As funny as that sounds, I get where you're coming from with that, because that sounds hilarious. but it's a good correlation.
Did we lose Rick? I think we may have lost Rick.
Can you hear
But
me?
this would be a good time. Yeah, there you go. How you doing, Rick? You still can't see you, but we hear you.
Yeah, I mean, my camera's died on me. It said my microphone's died on me. It's using my microphone on, I don't know what it's using. Because I have a microphone on my camera and on the computer. My other microphone's down, but it says it doesn't recognize my camera anymore.
Uh-oh.
I go into settings here, and camera permission not granted, microphone permission not granted, audio output permission not granted, and I click on the thing to open the to show me what I got. They won't even open to show me what I have to choose from.
You might have to reboot.
That's what I'm thinking. But you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you. It could just be a Windows update or something.
Yeah. Well, hey, you don't have to see me anyway, as long as you can hear me.
All right.
But and I got and the chat's still working. You know. So let's see what they're saying in the chat here. Midnight's going on about people dying. Would you feel sad? Of course I would. Do I want to go? I'm not saying if I got this virus, I'm going to go out and infect everybody just because I can. You know. I mean, I got a doctor's. Unless they cancel on me, I got a doctor's appointment next Thursday. Right, it's my normal 3 months checkup where they do blood work on me for my diabetes and all that shit. If he says he wants to do a virus check on me, I'm going to let him. You know, you never know. I don't know if it's available yet for doctors to do that kind of thing, but if there is, I'll do it. And if I find out that I have it, I'll stay at home until I get through it. You know. Well, there you go. That's how I feel about it.
If you are, I think people should stay home if they have any doubts. People say, you're not going to change your life and all this, but honestly, it's pretty damn selfish.
It is selfish.
If you want to take it as a joke, that's on you, but it's not a joke because a lot of people are, in the crosshairs of something like this.
See,
and with the information that we really don't have, it's pretty crappy of people to tell people it's no big deal. It's no big deal, in my opinion, because you're not a doctor, and even if you are, you don't know. You don't have all the facts.
See,
it's let's hope for the best. My opinion. So I think it's wrong for people to say don't worry about it.
No. You're right. Now I just want to chase not the subject,
and worry are two different things. You shouldn't freak out, but at the same time, don't be stupid. In my opinion, and be thoughtful of other people.
All right, can you guys still hear me? Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Midnight, and the thing is, you possibly don't know for weeks if you have it. Well. What I've been reading is, in rare cases, yes, it could take up to 23, 24 days for it to show up. But on average, most people have it. They know they got it within 5 to 6 days.
Is this going to change anything in our lifestyles? And I say no, it's not. Because the fact that be quiet for a second, just listen to what I'm about to say. How many times have they said, wash your hands? You people aren't washing their hands already? Stay home. Midnight. You're a chef. Have you ever in your career went to work sick? Now, are you going to stop going to work sick? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the virus itself. I'm talking about our everyday habits of hygiene. You go to the mall and you see little kids rubbing their nose and snotting all over the place and then touching the handrail on the escalator. Then grandma going up the escalator grabs that same handrail. That stuff's not going to change. That's not. It's not going to change. No. And that's the problem in all this is we have an opportunity right now to do like Rob was saying earlier and evaluate what we're doing wrong and fix it. I don't think we're going to do that.
Yeah, and Midnight, dude, Don't you read the signs in the bathrooms at work? After you're done using the restroom, you're supposed to wash your hands. As a chef, you should know this. Are you not following it? That's all I have to say.
Yes, if I get sick, I will not be allowed to come to work. That's now policy at a lot of places. It is, but honestly, I mean, you telling me as a chef, you've had a slight cold or runny nose that you have not gone to work. I mean, I was a meat cutter. I mean, and I'm going to say it. I mean, there was times when, like I said, I might have had a light cough or a runny nose, and I knew to myself that I could feel a cold coming on or the flu coming on. You know, I still went to work. Now, when the flu, then when it fully hit me, I would call in sick. You know, so I just want to say that if anybody says they've never gone into work sick, I think they're full of shit.
The problem with most of these arguments is we spend too much time fighting with each other when we're saying the same thing. I haven't heard one person ever say, this is no big deal, don't worry about it, just go on about your regular day, nothing's going to happen. I haven't heard anybody say that. I've heard everybody say the same thing. Be cautious, be prepared, wash your hands, be careful where you go. If you get sick, stay home. So the argument always comes back up. Well, don't, you got to be prepared. You're saying just screw it and just don't worry about it. Show me where somebody's saying that go on about your regular day. This is no big deal. The president's not saying that. Nobody in this chat room has said that. So a lot of these discussions are arguments like me and Rich White. Me and Rich White argue about the same thing when we're talking about the same thing and agreeing with each other. We just like to argue with each other.
Midnight, shouldn't you be cooking right now? Why are you arguing with us in the first place?
I caught part of a show last night where people were jumping on people pretty good, stating that it's no big deal. It's nothing like the flu, and or it's like the flu and this and that. And
now the emphasis is not that it's a big deal, but the emphasis is that it's been blown a bit out of proportion. And if you can't accept that, Travis, then okay, you can't accept it. Move on.
Yeah. Patriot in the Dark's joined us, by the way, if anybody's noticed. He ain't said a word, which is very unusual for him.
I'm just watching the show.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing?
I've seen what you did there.
They've screwed up my schedule. Dang, school's canceled until April 6th. Got a stinking kid staying home now. Jeez. That messes up my bachelor weekend,
Yeah.
So
you got a new mic?
No, I just put it on headphones and
okay.
I forgot that it was Saturday. Like I said, the state of Michigan canceled school from Monday till April 6th. But my darling district decided, screw it, we'll just skip Friday too. So
yeah,
I'm a day behind.
Vanessa just said Apple just closed all their stores.
It's not. We have never contained anything ever. So this is just slowing it down a little bit, whatever, until we got ready for it. It's not as bad as everywhere else in the world because we did stop travel and whatever. End of January, early February 2nd.
Yeah,
I don't know. I know that I think the dumbasses that waited until the last minute to go out and then they buy everything are a bunch of bums. But it's just like I'm not jumping into this. I know you guys have already talked about stuff, but one thing I would throw up is not that I would throw up, but living here in Michigan, right? It's March now, February, whatever it is. We just went through winter. If you waited until March to decide you need to stock up on things because it is winter here You know, I always have extra water just because, you know, not only don't I drive, I have to wait for other people to do things and schedule things around other people's whatever, because I don't have, you know, the mass transit and all that stuff. But, you know, so you do things daily, you know, and the people that are hurting for money, you know, buy that extra thing, whatever, you know, you do that all the time. So, you know, when something like this does come up, it's not, oh, I got to go to the store and buy, you know, whatever, you know, was that Franklin Armory selling rolls of toilet paper for $397 and
With
throwing
the
that
with,
binary trigger.
yeah.
So it's just, yeah, there is danger, you know, that panic though, you know, I mean, 6 months ago, a year ago, if you would have turned on the news, you would have blew off 85% of anything that came out of anybody's mouth. Why? Because we know that they overblow everything. Everything's a tragedy. Everything's dire. Everything's bad, right? Now, until, you know, when you listen to the CDC and, you know, some of the people right in the midst of it, you know, some people obviously they quelch everything and they're only going to say a tiny mute thing, but, you know, I don't know. We filter everything anyway. I mean, being in the Second Amendment, you know, community, you know that a lot of people blow shit up just to blow stuff up, you know, so that it's an agenda and stuff. Not that this is an agenda. I'm not saying that, you know, all the people in Italy and, you know, all over the world that are getting sick and stuff and that are stretched to the limit, you know. I mean, I don't know. They bring up a lot of stuff about like the swine flu and the differences, and you know that things were different. But obviously, with the swine flu, it was affecting little kids and children and young adults, whatever. So that's obviously, you know, really crazy tragic. You know, but now since it's, you know, mostly old people, you know, obviously, you know, people are, you know, still scared, but you know they're like. How many people have died from the regular flu this year already? You know, is it over 1,000, 1,800?
Let me real quick.
Is
Let me
it?
translate what
Okay.
Patriot just said.
Thank you.
And what Patriot just said, everybody heard clearly. Now I'm going to translate to what people are going to react to. Patriot just said this is a government conspiracy. There's nothing wrong. And everything out you hear is fake news. That's the argument that a bunch of yahoos are going to make, even though that's clearly not what he said.
Yeah, because he is actually making sense there for a minute.
I wouldn't state that. I would state this is different than the flu, and you know,
Well, there's a lot of things that
the
are
way it
different.
goes back and forth to people, the chance of re-getting it, and obviously how everybody reacts to things.
Do you get a flu shot every year? Because
No.
it modifies and mutates every year. I mean, it's done that forever.
Yeah.
You know, this is new. This is new and stuff. But when you have obviously the being so contagious and that kind of thing, you know, I mean, it's just be smart about it. I mean, you can take it from one extreme to the other, and I don't care really where you are in that, but don't push that huge panic. Like, oh, this is, you know, people are going to be in FEMA camps. Everybody's going to be locked down, like they are in China. And if you go towards the fence, they're going to shoot you, and you know you got to tell your kids to avenge you. And,
Whoa! Come down there,
Dawn.
Patriot.
No, I'm just saying
Stay
because
always
there
prepare
are
for the
people
worst,
right
hope for the
now on
best.
YouTube pushing that stuff. Oh, you know, I'm sneaking into the containment field, and you know, whatever. You know, there's people out there that are pushing that stuff, and that's fine. You know, I mean, if you dig it, and you know, you got a lot of kids in Europe listening to you, you know, that's fine. But I'm just saying, you know, try not to push the panic more than what needs to be.
That sounds
we
ridiculous.
know to keep things clean. What sounds ridiculous? People saying that? Well, of course.
Yes, it does.
But there are people that are saying that, and I'm just saying, if you keep your head on your shoulders and you think about it, right? You know, I mean, I kind of self isolate anyways because I don't like people, you know. But so it's just, you know, don't push extra. Just, I mean, you know, just try to think about it, you know. I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, we had
I'm not
had 30
trying to
mile
push
an hour
that
winds
here, but
yesterday. I think it blew it more places than people skipping work and stuff.
And that's the point.
normally
They're
don't
blowing
have
this out of proportion more than it needs to be.
hazmat suits dealing with flu right
Say that again, Rob. Start over again,
now.
Rob.
So
Okay.
they normally don't have hazmat
I
people
can barely hear you, Rob.
Yeah, your volume just dropped off the shelf again, Rob. We can't hear you, man.
Rob, come back from the shelf.
Can you hear me?
Barely.
All right, don't worry about it then.
Oh, we want to hear what you said, but we can't. See if you can fix your
Yeah,
microphone.
but it's like there's not much I can do to it.
Now
So
you're good. I don't know what
that's
you're
weird.
doing different.
All right,
You
I'm
might
not
just need to
fixing
talk a
it.
little louder.
Yeah.
I was just stating, you don't normally see people locking down ships, the president on TV, people in hazmat suits all over the flu. So obviously there's some type of concern. So, and with what the government does tell us, whether you want to see conspiracy or whatever, I personally think they're letting information out come slowly. You guys think they're hyping it up, so I don't know. You know what I mean? It could be either way, but if people are at risk and could die, shouldn't we say, hey, it's better to be safe than sorry? So
The
that's
point, the thing about the people not coming in hazmat suits and the president on TV over the flu conversation gets mixed up the same way the handguns versus quote unquote assault rifles gets mixed up. When I hear somebody say, well, why don't they go after handguns? The first thing I think is, shut up, because they do want handguns. But the basis of the argument is if you really care that much about life and spreading infectious diseases or gun violence, then why aren't you talking about where the gun violence comes from? That's the same thing with the flu. Nobody talks about the flu, but it kills way more people every year. Last year they killed a certain amount. This year it killed even more. 10 years from now it'll kill a whole bunch. But nobody's talking about that yet. In the same breath, they're talking about how important being containing infection is and human life. That's the that's the twist in the argument that I have a problem with. Is if you care about life, why didn't you care about it yesterday?
well, I'm sure some of us did, but as I'm sure we have a built-up immunity to the flu in a sense, not where we're completely immune to it, but a lot of people have dealt with it in the past. And again, that's where this is different. So
I'm not.
it's just different. It's different than what we know. It's different than what the experts know. So, nobody can say panic or should be able to say completely panic or you're completely okay. So just for that fact, it's better to play things safe.
Yeah, and I think most everybody, at least, and I say when I'm not talking about the far reaches of the internet that I don't know about. I'm talking about in our group. In our group, everybody's agreeing with that. Everybody's saying the exact same thing. Yet for the past 2 weeks we've been bickering and fighting with each other like stupid school kids.
And
You're
I
right.
can attest a lot of kids are stupid.
Now, who's going to look after your daughter now when she's not at school?
But me, I watched her. She's always at my house anyways. I mean, we split it up. She's with her mom, 50% of the time or so. But yeah, it's either or. She's either there or here.
Can I ask you
No
a question,
different.
Patriot?
Yes, sir.
And I don't mean this like I'm just going to ask you bluntly. Do you have a job? Like, do you work or are you like retired? I guess.
I've got a business and I'm retired and I do things. I've got a freelance.
But yeah, you don't have a
I
9 to
started a
5
business.
job.
No. Yeah, I'm just kind of independent right now. I started a business and I worked with state agencies for a good while. And then I finally came to the realization that they all stink and most of the people that were in direct contact with me were not the best people. Some were appointed, some were lifers, and it just didn't work out. And so I kind of went off on my own, and then I just decided, hey, this is I do all sorts of things.
Well, there you go.
Does
But somebody
that
who's got a
help
9 to
anything?
5 job, say
Yeah.
both parents got 9 to 5 job, one of them's got to stay at home to look after
Well,
the children.
Well, that is a big thing, obviously. I mean, I know my district, they do a lot of the emails, and we have, the text messaging and all this flash stuff that, somebody thinks something and it just comes up or whatever. But they have the programs where, there are a lot of kids, nationwide or whatever, that get breakfast and lunch at school, or at least two different, a snack and a meal or some kind of thing like that. And I know my local school district is still doing that. Now they have moved it because all the school buildings themselves are, in their deep clean and all that kind of stuff that they're doing. But I believe they've opened up, there's maybe a community center or something that they drop off, and you can, swing in and pick them up, or there's random times for pickups, or I don't know how they're actually, doing a lot of that stuff. But as far as the watching, I mean, obviously that's a concern, when it's something like this that, hasn't hit anybody, I guess. And it might be, I mean, it could be, I could have it. So I don't know.
See, now Vanessa Kitties says this pandemic is just getting started. Make sure you are prepared to be out of work for significant time, have food, games, etc., utilities.
Well, that should have been.
I don't feel it's going to get. I mean, I was reading some article the other day that they reckon the United States is going to have 480,000 deaths by the end of the year. I'm not saying it's not a pandemic, but I think I don't know. I worry about it, but I don't think it's as bad as they're making it out to be.
I listened to something this morning. It was some lady that was from New York, maybe a lieutenant governor, used to be or something, but she runs the infectious death prevention, such and such. Don't quote me on that. But she was talking about SARS and how the outbreak because that's a coronavirus, SARS is, and said that the outbreak in Ontario, a man that his wife had went to China, she came back, he was a carrier of it, kind of got was feeling under the weather, went to an emergency room, which was at obviously the hospital in Ontario, and they didn't check him out, right, for 16 hours that he sat there, and it ended up, I guess, 77 people in that emergency room ended up getting it and then passing it on. Obviously that's different because that's at all ages. The one that we're dealing with now is 85 is the mean, or over 60, whatever the numbers are. But with people that already have,
that's up for debate at this point.
Yeah, if that already have issues.
Press conference.
What's that? There was a 20-year-old?
No, I was just saying, I just wanted to add that that's up for debate on whether it's just towards older people, according to the White House press conference this morning. So that was a question that was addressed, and I don't want to give the answer or whatever. If anybody's interested, check it out. But
see, I fall in that older category that is in danger from this virus because I'm over 60. I have diabetes.
I think they're talking about respiratory issues, right? I don't know.
I don't have any. No.
Yeah, I just suggest you don't go sit in an emergency room right now, unless you're sick. Go to your doctor. This is what they were pushing.
I'm
go to
still
your doctor
going down.
Instead of emergency room.
I still go down to the diner to have lunch or breakfast.
Yeah.
I haven't stopped doing that. I'm just doing life like I normally do it. You know. Now I must admit, if I'm out, like I, I'm not saying I didn't before, but I make a conscious effort. I am washing my hands more than I did before. You know.
Yeah, I am
I've
too.
always been washing my hands because of my cats anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it just I don't know. But anyway, we can talk about this forever.
Yeah.
Hey,
I gotta head out. I'm going to get some ammo at PSA and some gasoline. So you guys have fun.
all right. Thanks, Night Strike.
Yeah.
See you, Nice Strike.
Say it.
Later, guys.
Yeah,
That was a pretty long 5
This isn't a
minutes there,
panic
Rick.
run.
that was a long 5 minutes.
This is
Don't
a
worry.
panic run.
Yeah.
It's not a panic run. It's just a normal PSA and gasoline run, guys.
So who won today?
One what?
This is Saturday. Your giveaway.
Oh, I ain't even done that. It's goddamn. It's been over an hour already. Jesus. All right. Before we carry on, because I need to ask Kingpin something. So we're definitely going to carry the conversation on. But let me do my contest from last week. I had 4 entries. That's all I had. And the question was, Oliver Winchester, from the Winchester Rifle Company, was also active in politics. I wanted to know what positions he held. And he served as a New Haven City Commissioner, is one. He was a Republican presidential elector in 1864 and as a lieutenant governor of Connecticut from 66 to 67. There you go. And my 4 entries I got, you all got 25% chance of winning, right? So let me click the button here and see what she brings up. Ohio 45, ACP is the winner.
Congratulations.
There we go. He is the winner. Let me write that down. Ohio 45, ACP. He is the winner of that one. All right. Now, the question for this week's swag pack is, you ready for this now? It's to do with the, you pronounce it Garston or Gaston flag? What I want to know is the snake that's on the flag. Why does the snake have 8 pieces and not 13? There you go. That's one for you guys to think about and look up. Why does the snake only 8 pieces and not 13? So there you go. All right. Email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com with the answer for this week's quiz. So, okay. Back to my conversation. Kingpin.
Yeah.
I lost myself again here. Hang on. There we go. Yeah, my question to you is, did I read, was it Maryland where they busted in at 4:30 in the morning and killed another person with a restraining order or whatever, risk protection order?
Yeah. I don't think it was a red flag seizure. I think it was another firearms type of felony. I've read up on it, and so far everything I've read has been pretty vague, which is no big surprise. If I hear anything more about it, I'll talk more about it. But I know just about as much as you do right now.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask if you knew any more than I. That's about all I've heard too. So, all right, I just thought you might know a bit more details, but this is the second one in your state.
Well, that's the one. That's the
They've
thing.
done an early raid.
That's the couple articles that I did read said it was not a red flag seizure. Now that doesn't mean that it wasn't, but just what I've read so far says it was not a red flag seizure.
Yeah, okay. But I mean, yes, they say it's not, and maybe it wasn't, but it seems strange. The other one was at 5:30 in the morning. This one was at 4:30 in the morning. Seems a strange
Well,
time to go busting down doors.
no, it's a perfect time to go busting down doors. What are you doing at 4:30 in the morning? You're asleep. And if I want my officers to get you out of that house in the safest manner, I want you to be as surprised as possible. That's why they don't show up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and give you a phone call and let you know they're coming. Is because they don't want the suspect, if you will, in the house to know. The raids are surprises. That's why they do them at 4 o'clock in the morning. Is because
Yeah,
you're asleep.
but but being woken out of a sleep, right? I'm liable to grab my gun and start shooting. You come at me
Yeah,
and
and then the cops are
you
going to
I'm
put
bound to
you
be
down.
more passive.
Yeah, you got to take in. I don't know that it's right or it's wrong or whatever, but you got to take in protocol. If I'm the sergeant and I'm sending 5 of my officers into your house and I know you're armed and I know you're dangerous, I want them to have the biggest element of surprise. And it's not like they're tapping on the door and, slowly walking through the house. They're blowing that door open with a nice, whatever that big ram thing is called, and rushing through the rooms with guns pointed at you. So if you wake up and grab your gun, you're going right back to sleep. I mean, the police officers have to take into account the safety of the officers.
True, true.
And again, the safety of the officer. If I show up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and your neighbors see 15 cop cars driving down the road and call you, now you can barricade. Now you can load your magazines. Now you can get a rifle at each window. Who knows what you might be able to do? So that's why the raids are run the way that they're run.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean I understand what you're saying. I do, but I still think when they do the early morning raid, the suspects get always getting shot. You know?
And I mean, suspects rarely ever get shot. Go ahead, Rob.
I was just gonna say I totally agree with the reasoning behind it with Kingpin. I do know that it is all about element of surprise with a lot of different things similar. Basically, if he can outnumber, out surprise 3-1, make noise at every entry point, even though you might only be coming through two, it's all to your advantage to quickly subdue people in a sense. But I will say on Rick's side of it and mine, I don't like it. You know, and I can understand where your first thing, especially in some areas like mine, where you'll get 3, 4 people kick your door in, and if you're lucky, they tie you up on your bed and they take everything, including the food in your cabins. And it's not uncommon, especially with old people here. It's mainly for medications, but it's not that uncommon. So if door gets kicked in, 3 people or more, a big crowd of people is running in, it could be an issue. Where I see it being a real more of an issue is you are groggy, you don't know who it is, they're all dressed in black, and I can understand how a lot of mistakes can be made. And then you also have to understand some people are hard of hearing. Some people sleep with, music or something on. I don't know. People are different, so you can't assume that everybody's going to hear you screaming at police either. So I could
Yeah.
see a
But
lot of room for problems with liability, basically. So,
yeah.
and just because somebody says they're a cop doesn't mean they're a cop. And there's a lot of people that get robbed by the police. So keep that in mind as well. So it's a very risky thing. But I do
Right, but
understand
when cop
that's the way they do, enter a room. It is quick and yeah. Usually, like military, everything's like 3-1. Is how they try to put it. So it's overwhelming force. So your natural reaction is shock, not defense at that point.
Yeah. Well, maybe I mean, I see where I'm going wrong is I'm looking at it from me being an honest citizen. You know, I'm not.
Yeah, scare the hell out of you.
Yeah, and that's what I said. It was scared the hell out of me, and that's what I'm saying. I might grab because my gun, my carry gun, sits on my bedstand at night on top of my
It wouldn't
Bible,
be wrong to be your
and
first
I'll grab it and
reaction.
start
The
shooting.
only problem is what you live after it.
You know. So anyway,
Cops don't raid your house with like 3 cops. Cops show up 10, 15, 20, 30, however many they need, and they're not whispering, they're screaming, all of them, with lights on their guns and all kinds of stuff coming in your house. I understand the point. Yeah, there's a lot of people who pretend that they're cops and raid your house to do like Rob was saying and home invade people. But when you get raided by the cops, there's no mistaking that the cops just showed up at your house. You know that instantaneously, especially if they break your door in while you're sleeping.
yeah, yeah,
There's some debate to that. I mean,
I,
on
I've,
those
I,
situations. So it's
I've
a
been in a few
squad
houses
of
that have been
officers
raided.
don't enter your room. 2 officers enter your room. Like, they're coming through a door, but most people don't sleep in their hallway, so you're not going to see the whole force rolling in. And keep in mind, apartment buildings, sometimes music's bumping 24 hours a day. People are yelling and screaming. Like, it's normal to hear things all night long, in some areas. So it's not like a guy got killed across the street by 2 people in a battle, and the people in the apartments next door didn't call the police. It's not uncommon, is what I'm stating. So, from some places, sure. For others,
yeah.
it's different
So
stroke for different folks.
Clovertech says the amount of warrants served, busts made, suspect shootings are astronomically low. Saying it is a problem is like saying AR-15s are the violence issue. They are a small percentage. Yeah, I know, but as I said, I'm looking at it from me being, an honest citizen. Is as I said, somebody, a cop's busted in my door. I'm going to grab my gun and start shooting. If I'm scared when I woke up like that. If he came in the afternoon, I'll be more passive. Open the door and say, "What's the problem?" But that's me. I'm looking at it from how I see it. You know.
Have any of you ever had your house raided or been in a house that's been raided?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been in tons of them, and there's no mistaking that there's a fact that there's 50 cops in your house.
All right. All
Where I was at, there wasn't 50, but there was a few.
right. Yeah, Two Live Moose said I did ride along with a cop and had a search warrant. There was about 30 cops, 6 cars, and a van. So when they come, they come. I understand that, but it just
I think there may be a difference with this is if it is, say, a red flag law, it may be better to try to talk to the person, than show up at 4 in the morning. If this is a violent felon that we've been hunting for, yeah, hit him at 4 in the morning. I mean,
yes,
I
I
don't, you
as
know
I
what I
say
mean?
is,
Because
but
to me, that's a little different. The risk management kind of equals out there. But for your average guy that might have just pissed off his ex-wife, is it justifiable to shoot the dog and possibly him, to catch him by surprise? I don't really think so.
yeah, say I have a pissed off neighbor or whatever. They come kick my door in. Right now, I said I'm woken up groggy. You know, I grab my gun. They burst into the bedroom. All they see is a man with a gun. But I'm the night. But in real person, I am a law abiding citizen. You know, so I mean that's what bothers me. You know, hell, what do I know? Anyway, moving on. What about that case in New Jersey where the security guard got arrested and
All right.
getting charged for hollow points and carrying a gun? where he has a license to do it, and the hollow points weren't hollow points. You know, have you heard any
It's
more on that?
horrible. I question the whole thing, even the initial stop. Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak for the area, but it sounds familiar, very familiar to my area, where window tint or exhaust or an air freshener that they usually never even end up giving you a ticket for. It almost seems like he got caught up in some daily harassment and then threw in the book, which is horrible. So I'm not
So,
going to claim it. That's what it is, but it kind of hits home to me where the guy's doing nothing wrong but gets the book thrown at him. It's a shame.
only thing I've heard about this is just what people have put in the text chats. Can somebody tell me like what happened? All I know is just people saying, "Did you hear about the guy in New Jersey?" No, I didn't. Like,
From what
what
Well,
happened? How did the police know that he had hollow points?
he's an armed security guard, was on his way home after work. They went through all the legal process in Jersey to get a firearm and everything. The magazine, all that stuff is legit. The ammunition was given to him from his employer, which was, I believe, Hornady, Hornady something duty with
yeah,
polymer tipping.
yeah, because the hollow point is filled
So
with
the
with
tip
plastic.
so it's filled with polymer, basically the tip.
Yeah.
I believe Hornady says so. Clothing doesn't stop expansion or whatever. So he got pulled. He was close to his house on his way home, leaving work, and got pulled over by the police, supposedly for window tint. And being who he was, I'm not sure if he had to identify, but he informed the officers of a firearm. They checked the firearm and saw that they claimed those rounds were hollow points. Basically arrested him on a felony charge. So he lost his job. Obviously, employment's an issue because he's been being charged for a felony, and it's basically sitting in the wind while he defends against the case.
Yeah, they also got him on a firearm charge of like carrying a firearm,
like
even though he's got a
carrying
license. Not because he has a carry license from New Jersey, which you got to jump through hoops to get one. They don't give them out. Not only that, he also has the license saying he's a armed security guard. So
Okay, so the way I understand it is the guy got pulled over. The guy got pulled over, and the cop was inspecting the gun and said he had hollow points in it. That's what happened.
Yes,
yeah.
And they're debating whether he should have had the gun in a sense.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, that's what it's about. And the way it basically how I read it the first time I saw it was 3 white cops stop a black guy because of his tinted windows.
So let me ask this question: Is Hornady Critical Defense not hollow point because it has that the gel in the top or the plastic in the top? Is that not a hollow point?
I couldn't say. I would think that would be at this point, a lawyer determination.
Well,
I would think that was still a hollow point, kind of, but I don't want to really say that.
Well, no. His lawyer came on. I saw a thing, an interview with his lawyer came on, and on the government website, it states that those hollow points are legal in the state of New Jersey because they have that polymer in them. They even state that ammo is legal in the state.
So
but now they're charging him saying it's hollow point. So,
still catching and charge. When I first came across it, it wasn't put out like 3 white officers or anything like that. I just, from the area and similar to my area, it was a question in my mind why he was stopped to begin with. So I'm not trying to throw anything on race or nothing like that, but it wouldn't surprise me if it had something to do with the initial stop.
Yeah, New York law banning hollow points specifically states that Hornady critical defense, and critical duty are not hollow points. New Jersey specifically says that they are not hollow points because they are filled cavities.
Well, my question is not to parse little stuff. I'm just curious. Does and this is more of a firearms related question as opposed to a legal question. Does Hornady consider it a hollow point? I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to get into whether the law was right, wrong. Just the technical aspect of it is when Hornady produces it, are they producing hollow points or not? This is more of a gun question than anything else.
That's a good question.
Well, I mean, I get they're produced as hollow points. Then they fill in the cavities on a special run for New Jersey sales. Or I don't know if you can buy them everywhere or not, the special ones. But they're made.
Yeah, I got a couple boxes of critical defense. Yeah, I got a couple boxes of critical defense right here by my bed, and they all got that little red gel in the center of it, or plastic, or whatever.
Okay, now that.
Sorry, I'm looking at a box right now. Hornady critical defense, loaded with patented FTX bullets, 25 cartridges. It doesn't say anything about a hollow point on here that I can see so far.
Hornady calls it a flex tip, not a hollow point.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I was like, that was like I said, it was more of a gun question as opposed to anything else. Because just what does Hornady call it? But thanks, guys.
Yeah, Black Cat Outdoors says Hornady calls it a flex tip, not a hollow point. So there we go. So, all right.
I didn't even know.
So we lost Patriot in the dark. His daughter must have come home. So, all right, we've been running an hour and a half. You want to keep going, or do we want to shut her down?
That's up to you. I mean, we can stay and chat, or if you got some Welsh rabbit to go make, you can go do that.
Yeah, I got to feed my cats too. Yeah.
They start biting your legs yet?
Welsh rabbit sounds pretty good, actually. It's a cold day here in Indiana. We've been having some great weather, but this weekend a cold front's come through. It's only in the 40s today. So I went shooting on Thursday. Down at the range. So that was about it, really. That's about my week. So, all right, I'm going to wind this up. I got both cats circling me. One keeps scratching my leg.
You said you had a question, Rob?
Oh, go on, Rob.
If he's wrapping up, it's no big deal.
No, go on. Go on. I can keep going.
Okay, I was actually trying to throw it towards Patriot, but I don't see him here.
No, he dropped out.
And the school lunches, I hear about
he's
that
back.
in my area.
Patriot's back. You can ask a question.
The school lunches, I've kind of heard about that in my area. I know it's a different topic, but how does everybody feel about that? I mean, I personally think it's kind of a shame that people can't feed their kids at home to begin with. But I've heard from people in the school district that a lot of people that they do it intentionally for the budget purposes. If they don't feed them, then they get like something subtracted off their debt or something like that. So, but do you think it's a good thing? Think it's a bad thing? Or
there's a couple things on that. As far as I know, there's people in the district like where my daughter goes. There are people in the district that are struggling, whatever, and that happens to a lot of people. The idea, I mean, the school itself does push, hey, sign up, try for it, to everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, you could be the car dealership owner or whatever, they'll still ask you to fill it out. Now, as far as the money, I don't know the particulars on that. If it's a certain percentage, 50 cents or $2 if they put out a lunch or a snack. I know there is some things like that because they are obviously helped out by the feds, I think. But I don't know. I mean, I know there are some districts around that are, lacking in a lot of things. And my idea on this, I mean, obviously it's best if people work and they do it, work hard and, cover their own responsibilities. But there are some people I know, I know of some that are their faculties, mental faculties might not be all there. And so anyone that's, in their house or whatever, it might behoove, the community to step up and help out. But, as far as, pushing it at a school and stuff like that, I don't know. I don't really, we're going to pay for it. They're going to make you eat, wheat bread and stuff anyway. So I don't know. I guess the kids don't mind it.
What happened to shame? Oh, go ahead, bro.
Oh, no, I was just saying, okay, I was just curious if maybe anybody had news, a funding scheme or what. I'm sure some people do benefit from it. It's sad that it needs to be that way, that the school would have that, but especially when some of the people I've noticed, have iPhones and all this other crap, but yet they can't feed their kids. I was just curious on the funding, because you mentioned it earlier, and I guess if I could, I'd also throw up, what about the fact that state workers are going to be compensated? They get, sent home for 2 weeks, and regular workers aren't. Is that going to be an issue? Because it seems like people are kind of getting upset. Who's paying for that? Well, they're losing wages. So it just seems like something that might be coming up pretty soon. But.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good question. If they're closing things down and stuff, are people still getting paid? And if they're not, how are they going to pay their bills?
I know that if you're a state worker, you're going to get paid. Besides that, I think it falls back to the actual company.
Yeah, whether the company wants to pay you or not. Yeah.
So it seems some people were quite upset about the fact that state workers are going to be paid. So I don't know if that's going to further, this finance that comes with all this is coming up now is going to further create tensions, or how that's
something
going
that
to play out.
Something that kind of goes along with that is like these schools. My district is an all-year school, right? And so instead of having your 3 months or whatever off in the summer, they divvy that up throughout the year for intersessions. 2 weeks here, 2 weeks. It's just so they basically go the same amount of days, but there's been a lot of most schools have a Facebook page and their social media and stuff where you can follow, and that's where you get all the parents' questions, and then they send out newsletters and stuff. But that was one of the big ones: are these kids that are stopped going to school for say a month, are they going to have to go and make that up in the summer, extend into the summer and things like that. I know last year when we had because this is act of God, natural, it's unforeseen, whatever they want to call it. It's like a state of emergency or whatever. Last winter we had several days that were basically the same thing. It was an act of God. They couldn't go to school. They shut things down. Well, it kind of extended over the limited days that they could actually go to or miss from school. But then the state stepped in and decided we're just going to waive that. And obviously this time of year you have a lot of issues with graduation. I think May 27th or something like that. That's the last day for seniors. Well, how does that affect them? Because it's obviously college, whatever, you're an adult, deal with it. But kids, where they might have to extend and stuff. But as far as my district, they've said that obviously that they don't know the answer to that, but the feeling is it's probably going to get waived since it is more of a natural thing. So I know that doesn't deal with money and stuff, but that's time and another little side note on that.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes back to the original thing I started the show with. I understand this could get worse, but you take in all the other stuff that people die from in this country. You know, is it going to be any worse if you add up? If you add up, deaths by death by motor vehicles, death by people falling off ladders. Look at how many deaths there is by people taking selfies. You know what I'm saying? You add them all up, you're looking at a huge amount of people dying every year in this country. And is this coronavirus going to surpass all that in deaths? It could be nature's way of, clearing things out. Look at it this way. Oh, damn, you youngsters, right? It's killing all the old people, so your Social Security money is safe for you when you get old to retire. You'll have some now. Just think of it that way. Look at the positive of it.
The unknown,
Actually, I got
the unknown. I think keep in mind with the the Spanish flu, as they termed it, there was 3 waves, and that was kind of something new to us that we were dealing with at the time. And I think that's probably adds to a lot of the panic in a sense, is the unknown. So like I said, hopefully it works out good for us. I'd say, everybody should have something anyway. I wouldn't go crazy or fighting people for toilet paper or nothing. But everybody should have basic stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, as civilized as this country's meant to be.
We'll see.
Yeah, as civilized as this country's meant to be, I think that we will get a handle on it. I really do.
I hope so.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
This obviously it doesn't really matter, but life expectancy now compared to 1909 and stuff. How old were you in 1909? That what was that average age? 60s, 70s. I mean, is it about the same? I don't know. I just thought I'd throw that out there. And also, if you are worried about toilet paper. I had an older person suggest, well, why don't they just do like the French, and get a bidet? You can actually get those on. I think you buy them on Amazon or something. But
oh yeah,
Probably
but
not
that was
anymore.
funny because it's nothing anybody probably thinks of here.
Yeah,
I'm sure the French aren't running out to get toilet paper, but
hey, just let your
might not anyway.
let your grass grow and grab handfuls of that.
Ah.
I don't know. I just think it's funny that people are hoarding toilet paper. Of all the things you can hoard, that's strange. I find that a strange one. But
probably the best thing about it is you should probably all isolate yourself, stay home, and just watch Rick's Life as I See It on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Yes.
And if you miss some, go back to some of the older ones, and then you can pass them around, right?
Yes. Now, as I said earlier in my show, before I close this down, I stopped doing the audio file on Podbean, Stitcher, and iTunes. But every video that I've made or show I've made is still on YouTube. So you can go back and look them up. Every one of them. So the good, the bad, and the ugly. So
I'll leave Squib alone.
He wasn't here today. He must be doing family stuff. So anyway, I want to say thank you for everybody for showing up. I really do appreciate it. We had some good discussions there in the chat going on. I didn't read I read everybody's. I didn't read them out loud, all of them, but I do read what's going on in the chat. So I do appreciate your input. I really do. And I want to say again, thanks for showing up on a Saturday afternoon. I really do appreciate it. And I will be back on Wednesday with Shooting with Disabilities. Got some good news. I got it. I think I told you guys I was trying to find some people to come on. I've got some responses back. I'm working on those, so that's a pretty good thing. So anyway, I want to say thank you. Anyway, let me go through the panel here with any shout outs. Kingpin?
Mute button was far away. Yeah, thanks, Rick, for having me. Appreciate everybody in the chat and everybody in the panel. G23 will be doing a live stream today at, I believe it's 6 p.m. Eastern, so you can check that out. And then a thing to remember is find out who your friends are. And I'll just use me specifically. If you don't consider me your friend and I consider you my friend, then that's my problem. But I'm not going to allow any media, any mass hysteria, any of this to get between me and my friends. Whether we disagree or whether we agree, whether we see things completely different or not, it's going to be up to me and that individual person if our friendship ends. And I don't think it's a good idea to let the coronavirus break up friendships. So remember, when we're having these conversations, we're supposed to be friends. And like I said, if I'm not your friend, go ahead and tell me, except for you, Midnight. You're my friend whether you like it or not.
That's right. As Rich White says, we ought to all start singing Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. That's what we need to do. All right. Any plugs or shout outs, New York?
I got nothing. I was just gonna point out the G23, but Kingpin already done so. So other than that, sorry I'm late. Sorry I missed the chat. Be safe for everybody and have a great weekend.
All right, appreciate it. Patriot, any plugs or anything?
I just hope everybody takes it easy, take a deep breath, and wash your hands.
And everybody go over
also
to Black Cat Outdoors place because he's got a pallet of toilet paper.
Also, if you want to see that secret meeting that the New York mayor had with the scientists, check out my latest video. It's only like 50 seconds. It's quick, but it was kind of hidden maybe. So check it out. It's important about the upcoming disaster. So other than that, just make it a good weekend, and thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate
everybody take care, and basically do what you're going to do. So we're all friends. I'll still be here, and I will talk to you all later. So good night, good afternoon, wherever you happen to be. So see you all later.
Bye, Sabrina.